What do Donald Trump, Johnny Depp, Rick Riordan, and Emma Chamberlain all have in common? They're all Geminis, and they've each built massive empires simply by opening their mouths and letting their opposite twin run wild with words. If you are a Gemini, first of all, congratulations or condolences, because you came out of the womb with two personalities fighting over the steering wheel. The light side, you are a sparkling, quick-witted idea factory. You are the wordsmith of the zodiac, turning casual observations into TED Talks and casual gossip into literature. You can charm the pants off a statue, juggle 6 conversations at once, and make everyone in the room feel like your new best friend. You are the human equivalent of a glitter bomb exploding in a library. Brilliant, curious, and impossible to ignore. And as a mutable air sign, you are the original airhead, but do not get it twisted. This changeable air is highly intellectual, the kind of wordsmith energy that can turn thoughts into gold. The Gemini mentality borders on straight-up genius. The dark side? Oh, honey, you have an opposite twin who shows up unannounced, flips the script, and starts gossiping about you to your own face. Then your twin ghosts the entire group chat and comes back 3 weeks later like, I was literally just thinking about you. You are adaptable, sure, but some people call that pathological indecision with extra steps. And you do not lie. You just have 2 equally convincing truths running in different browser tabs. And let us not forget your favorite hobby, dissecting every thought until it has been analyzed and cross-examined. Then, naturally, you appeal the verdict and retry it in the court of your own mind. One minute you are having an idea, the next you are trapped in a labyrinth of mental gymnastics, twisted into knots by 17 different perspectives. So welcome to Gemini life, where every decision has a sequel and every thought has a rebuttal. Look, the quality of a Gemini brain is this incredible dissecting intelligence, scientific, analytical, and razor-sharp critical thinking. But be careful. This intelligence can get stuck on 47 open tabs like a browser from hell. Close some windows, babe. Now let us talk celebrities who turned words and thoughts into pure Gemini magic. First up, Paul McCartney. Sure, he was famous for writing some of the greatest songs ever recorded. But the most Gemini thing about him? He co-wrote nearly 180 of the 213 original Beatles songs with John Lennon. That legendary Lennon-McCartney duo was basically Gemini duality in musical form. 2 minds bounced ideas back and forth, mirrored each other, and created something bigger than either could alone. Gemini is ruled by the twins, after all, and Paul spent much of his creative life working through that classic theme of partnership and polarity. Add in the fact that Paul could sing, write, play multiple instruments, produce, and jump between musical styles like he had several personalities sharing one passport. Second, Kenzie. This Gen Z singer-songwriter basically turned her diary into a chart-topping career. Most people wrote emotional letters and hid them under a mattress. Kenzie wrote them, added a beat, and made the entire internet cry in public. And do not forget Alanis Morissette. She wrote every word of her own massive hits, turning Gemini duality into an Olympic sport. Third, Emma Chamberlain. She built a multi-million-dollar empire just by being her lovable, unfiltered Gemini self. This girl talks so fast her opposite twin needed subtitles. In her podcast series, Emma overthought her existence out loud and somehow turned pure chaotic brain noise into comedy gold. Gemini Johnny Depp deserves a mention, too. He made millions playing Captain Jack Sparrow. Once that character hit, Depp and his pirate twin were practically inseparable in the public psyche. And Stevie Nicks deserves an honorable mention. She was a true Gemini wordsmith, writing huge hits both as a solo artist and while a member of Fleetwood Mac, all while twirling a shawl like she was buffering between dimensions. And while Gemini energy loves collaboration, Stevie took that to another level. She recorded duets with at least 15 different artists. At that point, she had enough musical twins to start her own zodiac. Over in politics, Geminis did not just run for office. They turned the whole country into their personal group chat. Exhibit A, Donald Trump. While he was not the first president to use social media directly, he arguably turned it into the main stage of his presidency. The man tweeted like his opposite twin was live streaming from the other side of his brain. 1 minute, he was promising the moon. The next, he was calling the moon fake news. Peak Gemini energy. You never knew which twin was driving, but the show was never boring. Exhibit B on our list of politicians is Gemini President John F. Kennedy. He was a smooth-talking visionary who posited the question, "Ask not what your country can do for you," while his opposite twin was flirting with Marilyn Monroe and the entire press corps. Classic Gemini politician, inspiring the nation by day, starting 1,000 rumors by night. But wait, Gemini Queen Victoria ruled an empire while secretly becoming one of history's most prolific oversharers. She filled journals with an endless stream of observations, opinions, and personal details. This Gemini queen had the gift of gab so magnificently, she started talking to her twin in a journal and accidentally left historians a treasure chest. Then there were fellow Geminis Boris Johnson, chaotic hair, chaotic opinions on purpose, and Marco Rubio, flip-flopping so fast he made his own wind. But Gemini's gift for language does not stop at politics. It also turns toward the invisible. Look at the mystics, poets, consciousness researchers, and spiritual writers of this sign, and you'll see a whole cluster of Geminis doing what they do best, attempting to explain the unexplainable. They take the mystical, the psychological, and the divine, and attempt to translate it into words. It is as if the sign of the twins stands with one foot in logic and the other in mystery. Number 1 on our list of writers with the gift of Gemini genius, Dr. David R. Hawkins. He started out as a psychiatrist, did the whole respectable MD thing, then retired after nearly 30 years. Instead of settling into a lazy boy recliner, he said, "What if I spent retirement mapping consciousness?" and went on to become famous. This man literally mapped consciousness like it was a GPS app for your soul. His famous map of consciousness broke the mysteries of human awareness down into bite-sized tasty word snacks that ordinary people could understand. His ideas went international faster than a viral cat video. Even his opposite twin had to stop arguing and just drive. Our second famous consciousness researcher was Gemini Alice Bailey. She channeled entire books from invisible spiritual masters, because apparently one plane of reality was not enough for a Gemini. And then we get Eden Gray, another Gemini translator of the unseen, whose 1960 book helped bring tarot out of the back room and onto the modern bookshelf. In true Gemini fashion, she took mysterious symbols, cryptic archetypes, and people falling out of towers, then made it all readable. The result was crisp, clear, and surprisingly practical. Finally, Gemini Phyllis Seckler was a highly influential writer and teacher who founded her own Thelemic College to explain esoteric thought clearly. And from the consciousness writers, we slide naturally into the Gemini poets, novelists, and essayists, the ones who stopped trying to explain the mystery directly and started smuggling it into character and plot. Take, for instance, Gemini, William Butler Yeats, Nobel Prize poet and member of the Order of the Golden Dawn. Yeats got automatic writing messages from the spirit world and turned them into poetry, so trippy your third eye got whiplash. But wait, there is also Gemini Ralph Waldo Emerson, who treated his essays like spiritual laboratories and spent a lifetime poking at the nature of the self. Next up is Walt Whitman, who wrote I Contain Multitudes, because of course he did. Whitman was a Gemini. Together, Yeats, Emerson, and Whitman used language to explore a world experiencing massive industrial change in the 19th century. Nobody really knew what was going on. But these Geminis were all more than happy to hand you a beautifully written 400-page explanation anyway. And the younger living Gemini writers keep the word storm going. Rick Riordan, Andy Weir, Michael Chabon, Gemini Wahaj, and Sophie St. Thomas. 5 Geminis who spin mythic quests. They write at a Pulitzer level, they write through raw family chaos, and they practice modern spirituality. All of it comes from the same quick-witted, dual-natured Gemini mind. So here you have it, fellow Geminis, or anyone lucky enough to love one. We are brilliant. We are chaos gremlins. And we will probably text you 3 different versions of this script by tomorrow. Stay witty, stay double. Maybe let your opposite twin take turns at the wheel, because 2 perspectives are kind of the whole point. What do you think? Does this capture the essence of the Gemini mentality or not? Drop a comment below.